Well, good evening, everyone. I decided to make a little video talking about just kind of chainsaw maintenance and stuff I personally do with all my chainsaws. You know, after each use, cutting firewood. I cut and sell firewood for a living. Yeah, I haul 2 cords. Usually go out and cut 2 cords most every day and haul. But one thing that I've learned over the years is to keep up on the maintenance on your chainsaws, you know, daily cleaning or after each use and stuff like that, such as your air filters and, you know, your bar rails. Just upkeep that makes cutting more pleasant. So anyway, I been slacking on my stihl. I went and cut there the other day and got home and I was beat, you know, cutting 2 cord every day. Anyway, I cleaned up my Husqvarna 390 XP, but I didn't get to my stihl 441. So anyway, I'm gonna get to that right now. First of all, it is a stihl 441. I run a 32-inch bar. I do run skip chain, just for the simple fact that skip chain is a lot quicker to sharpen up, especially when I'm out cutting firewood and stuff like that. Usually when I'm cutting timber and stuff like that, production fallen, I love to run full comp or full house, if you will, just because it cuts a lot smoother and stuff. But yeah, so I run 32-inch bar, stihl chain. I run stihl chain on both my Husky and my stihl. Personal preference, I guess. But yeah, skip tooth. The rakers are good. I just need to touch up the filing on it, and once I get that done, I will pull the bar off of it and clean the groove out for your drivers to go through, and then touch it up with a bar rail file, or a lot of guys use a bar grinder to keep the rails on your bar square. So yeah, we will get to filing. I like putting it in a bench vise. It makes for a lot more enjoyable filing. Yeah, it's pretty dirty from the other day. It was raining when I was cutting, and yeah, it got pretty dirty. I'm gonna get my Husky out of the way here. That's my other chainsaw. I use a 390 XP, again 32-inch bar. I like running longer bars so I don't have to go around the other side of the tree and make a second cut. But that, and you know, I like standing up. I've been in a couple car accidents, so standing up and bucking firewood's a lot more pleasant versus bending over with a short bar and stuff. So anyway, I use a 7/32 round file. I love Oregon files. Again, personal preference. You know, the older ribbed handles for the files. It's what my dad used. I've tried others, but it just seemed like this one a lot better. So anyway, this chain isn't too bad. Well, I guess it is. It's got a few nicks in it. Again, I don't count my strokes on the filing. I file it till it's sharp. There is no counting the same strokes on every tooth, because every tooth is different. Some might get banged up a little bit more in the dirt, or if you hit a rock or something, or cut metal in the tree from bullets or barbed wire. You know, everybody, well, not everybody, but things get put in trees that shouldn't be there, such as metal, and it will tear a chain up right quick. Once I get done sharpening up the chain, I will pull the bar and chain off of it. Do some cleanup on the saw itself and clean my air filter. And I just pulled the plug out and cleaned it before the last time I went cutting. so bad. One thing I do also like, cutting firewood and stuff is running hand file. Production filing is nice to have a good grind, but I found skidding out or yarding out logs, it gets dirt in them, and just a lot quicker for me anyway to do a quick hand file if I need to out on the mountain. The grind does cut a lot faster, let me tell you what. Nice good hand file. Maybe one day I will be able to do a square hand file. That'd be something. Again, sharpen your chain till it's sharp. Don't count your strokes and do, a set 3 or 4, whatever you might have heard. You sharpen the chain till it's sharp. And, if you get a tooth wore down more than the others, take a raker gauge to it and make sure your rakers, I use it's an Oregon raker chain, or gauge, excuse me. But it is a regular 25 thousandths chain, or raker gauge, but it's been used, so it's about 28. I like my chains a little bit hungry, just because they have more pull, especially when bucking firewood. I like to have my saws have some pull. Once in a while, about every other tooth, I like to knock the file on the edge of the bar, well, the tip of the file. I see a lot of guys bang up, them cutting edges on your file are what sharpen your chain. When you get banging it right here and on stuff like that, it smashes down them cutting edges on your file. So I just like to tap it on the side and use the tip where there is no cutting edge. Every person's different, but that's just something I like to do. Just because files do cost money. Yeah, they might not be very much money, but it adds up after a while. I try to squeeze out every bit of life I can out of a file, out of a saw chain. It all costs money, and when you do it for a living like I do, it adds up quick. It adds up very quick. I'm not sponsored. I don't have, people giving me stuff. I have to buy all this stuff out of my pocket. And this is how I provide for my family. I have 3 children and, regular expenses. Every dollar counts this day and age. Okay, that side's done. We'll switch over here to the other side. Usually I can get both sides of the chain. Some people might flip the saw around and be able to get to the other side easier. It's getting a little warm out here in the shed tonight, man. This temperature, holy smokes, it's 1st of December and very, very warm. Oh, it's supposed to be, below freezing. I'm not complaining too much because you know, it's holding off the snow and everything, which I gotta make it out in the mountains a lot easier and cut firewood. Don't gotta worry about the deep snow right now, which is a plus. Yeah, this side's banged up a little bit more. We'll get it straightened out here real quick. Like I said, I usually try to do this every day, especially, you know, cutting firewood. I love to keep myself sharp and running well. You know, you don't keep the maintenance on your saw, it'll start going downhill very quick. Yeah, it's nice and sharp now. You know, I look at it when I'm out there cutting firewood, you know, I try to minimize the work as much as possible because I look at it from a business standpoint. Therefore, it is my primary source of income. So, you know, you get a good sharp saw and you keep it out of the dirt, you know, you can buck firewood up a lot quicker. You know, you don't go through a chain quite as fast. You know, chains cost, you know, where I am, $35, $40. Now, I'd love to be able to make my own chain right now, but I might do, you know, buying a few chains every chance I get. I'd love to have a spinner and breaker. Hopefully here, get a few more wood sales. I'll buy me a roll of chain and spinner and breaker so I can make up my own loops. Then I'd have to do it for about half the cost of buying them pre-made loops. You have to bear with me, I got kind of a small shop here, limited space. I live in town at the moment. Hopefully that'll change soon and I can get back outside of town. I grew up outside of town, both me and my girlfriend, and both grew up on ranches and had cattle all our lives. But we had to improvise and move to town for a little bit, which it's not too bad, you know. Can't complain, you got a roof over your head and warm wood stove. That's one thing I love is a wood stove in my house. I've been cutting firewood since I was a little guy. You know, my dad, he was a logger for 30 years or better. Learned to run saw at a young age. I was just on Tasman Kenny Fuller's live feed tonight on YouTube, and I was telling him on there, you know, I started running chainsaw when I was 8 years old. The first saw I ever ran was a stihl 038 AV. It was my uncle's saw, and we was out doing tree thinning, and he's like, come here, I just love to go for the day, you know, and hang out with my uncles and my dad. Anyway, he goes, come here, you need to learn how to run saw sooner or later. So threw a pair of saw shaps on, and he'd give me the chainsaw and help me get cut. And since that day, I fell in love running chainsaw. I ran chainsaw during the summers, doing some tree thinning and stuff like that with my old man and my uncles. And I went through high school and moved away and started doing construction. Got into welding and stuff from the get-go, and then I got into carpentry. Did that for about 10, 11 years. I'm only 31. And so yeah, I started that right out of high school. I guess I was 18 years old, and done that. Traveled all over the Pacific Northwest, you know, went down Utah, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Washington, and worked construction on the road, and it got old after a while being away from my children, and decided it was time to move back home. I started chasing one of my other passions, which is running chainsaw and doing production timber falling and stuff. Got into that, some road building, but here lately I've just been doing nothing but selling firewood, which I love it. There's nothing like being your own boss out there in the woods, being peace and quiet. I get to work with my best friend, which is my girlfriend. She's going through college right now, so we get to make our own work hours. She gets to still do college. We get to work on our own, which I'm very, very, very thankful for. I'm a very blessed human being, that's for sure. I wouldn't change it for the world. I get to take my children to school, go cut firewood, and be home by the time they're out of school, and be able to pick them up, and be able to be home every night, make dinner, and enjoy my family. I worked quite a bit on the road, and I disliked it very much. It was no fun, that's for sure. Well, the chain sharp, like I said, the raker's already set. I just had to touch up the chain, and so now I am going to take the bar off of it, the chain off of it, clean inside the chain cover, clean the groove out in my bar rail, and take a bar rail file and square my bar up, make sure it's good. So a lot of times, running your chainsaw, it wears the bar. I don't have a bar rail grinder or anything like that, but this little file I found it on Amazon actually. It was like $12, $13. It works pretty good. Squares the bar up nice, it takes the burrs off the edge. But yeah, we'll get this popped off here. Set the bar nuts out over there so you don't lose them. I've lost quite a few of those, especially in the woods. You set them down. That's what I like about the new stills. They have the captive nuts on them. Yeah, see, I take and clean all this out of the chain cover and stuff like that, clean all the gunk out of it. But one thing I do is I loosen up the chain, get it back, that way it just pops on and off a lot easier. Just put it back to the sprocket. Pop it off here. One thing I do, I run a 32-inch bar on my saws, on both my saws. Set my chain aside there. Right now, what I normally do with my bar rail, how I clean that out is I take a fixed blade utility knife. Of course, I use the Stanley model 199. This it's for I used it a lot hanging sheetrock and stuff like that. I like the fixed blade for hanging sheetrock, but yeah, it works really good. You clean the grooves out of the bar, get all the gunk out of it. There's that side. A lot of times I haven't filed down the bar rails on this saw in a little while. I usually just flip the bar, but it's time to run the file down it real quick. And how I go about that is I take and stick it back in the vise here. Let me see here. This is a milk crate I take with me when I go cutting firewood. Has my my combo can with gas and oil, my log chain, other miscellaneous stuff. One thing I use for marking my blocks or the logs for firewood is sidewalk chalk. I got turned on to this by Mike Morgan with Outdoor with the Morgans. Like I said, my girlfriend goes firewood cutting with me, and you know, when I'd be limbing up the log and stuff, she'd go through and mark the log with a small axe, which is my wedge banger right here, and it got tearing up her forearm pretty good and stuff, you know, putting a lot of strain swinging that axe with one hand. And anyway, I came across that on Outdoors with the Morgans, and yes, bought some sidewalk chalk. Actually, my children had some. We started using that, and it goes a lot quicker. You can see it a lot better, and yeah, it doesn't tear up her forearm quite as much. Let's see here, I got that bar rail file in here somewhere. Got a lot of stuff in here. I need to go through and reorganize it. Again, this is stuff I take with me every time I go into the woods cutting firewood. I'll be dang, it was in here. Let me see here. Shoot. Oh, here it is. I had it in my little white box here. I got horseshoe nails for my loggers tape, extra bore nuts, miscellaneous stuff like that. I usually keep a few extra sprockets and spark plugs and stuff like that. Anyway, we'll get this stuff set out of the way here and clean with this bar. Again, I found this on Amazon. It's just a small bar rail file, and yeah, just run it down the bar on each side and it squares the bar right up. One thing you need to do is set it to where it's nice and sturdy on your vise here. Let me see here. There we go. Yeah, maybe this way's the best way. A few strokes, like I said, I kind of keep up on this type of maintenance because it makes a saw cut a lot better. You know, you ain't cutting half moons and your logs. Just makes for a more enjoyable firewood cutting. That's about all I do on that. Set that bar out of the way. Another thing, like I said, I like to clean all the gunk out of here. I just take a regular bar wrench or scrunch, if you will. Clean all that gunk out of there. Let me see here. I got some paper towel here. You can take and wipe it down real good. Get a bunch of that stuff out of there. It gets built up and it'll wear on things, you know. Okay, there's that. Okay, next step, I take and pop my back cover off to get to the air filter. Now, before I pull my air filter off of there, I'll take my air compressor or my compressed air here, and I'll blow out around the carburetor and stuff like that, just to get some of that out so it's not dropping down in the carburetor and gumming that up. But blow some of this stuff out of here. I apologize in advance if the air compressor kicks on, gets a little noisy. So. And I'll clean by the sprocket and stuff like that. You know, I'll take the scrunch right here and clean all that out. I'll blow it out with the air. Another thing I like to do, and I'll do it about once a week, is I will pull my air filters off with my saws, and I'll rinse them out with saw gas, or just some gas, or even brake clean. I don't know what other people use, but brake clean usually seems to work pretty good. But yeah, I just blow the air filter out. Get that put back on there. That put back together. Get the bar and chain put back on. And that's pretty much it, how I go about. That's just daily, every day I like to clean my saws up. That way they're ready to go the next day before I go cutting firewood. Well, saves on your equipment. Like I said, it makes for a more pleasant cutting when you're on the stump and bucking up firewood. When you take care of your stuff, it'll last a lot longer and take care of you. I've seen guys go out wood cutting with other people, and they'll fire up their saw and get cutting a few blocks, and it'll start running funky. And of course, first thing I'll do is pull their air filter out, and it'll be completely packed full of stuff. So yeah, we'll put the chain cover back on. Before you tighten it all the way down, make sure your chain is snug. I don't like them super tight. I like a little bit of slop in my chain. That way it doesn't bind up as much. I see a lot of guys, they'll tighten their chain completely up, and they'll hit the throttle, and before they even let off the throttle all the way, the chain stops on it. It just wears out your sprocket noses a lot quicker, and just a lot harder on your bars and your chain both. But yeah, so I'll get it close, get my wire close to being tight, and then let me see here, I will change positions with the camera here. Let me see. Now I got the one bar nut pretty snug, but I will tighten up the chain here. Now I'll bring it up to where it's just touching the bottom of the bar rail here, and I'll put the tip of the saw down on the bench like that, and there will be a little bit of slack. I'll just give it a little tug like that, and then I'll finish tightening it. Now that is about it, and this saw is ready to rock. Again, I cut firewood for a living. Tomorrow I have to, sorry about that, I have to go and cut a 2-cord load for a gal, elderly gal. She buys from me every year. Wonderful lady. And yeah, this saw's ready to go. I will pull the Husky up here, get it all filed up, and do the same thing with it, and both saws will be ready to rock tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more like this, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. You want to see more videos like this, let me know. Hopefully tomorrow I'll upload a video of cutting firewood. So yeah, anyway, I appreciate you watching if you stuck with me this far, and yeah, have a good evening. Thank you very much.